Let me tell you about this guy.
I'll tell you about this fucker right here.
Yeah.
So, Brandon, how was your Christmas?
People aren't going to understand why we're laughing. My Christmas was great.
Mine was fabulous.
Yeah. Happy New Year's.
Yeah, soon to be New Year's. Yeah, it's not quite New Year's yet.
Yeah, not quite.
Yeah, just what, 4 days to New Year's?
Yeah, and we're only 2 days after Christmas. Kind of crazy how we went and traveled and came back here to do this and then traveling again.
Yeah. Well, you know,
It's almost like these were recorded in advance.
we have our priorities, you know. So,
Well, apparently my Christmas gift didn't last because I didn't get enough time away from you.
hey, we agreed on Christmas Day.
Oh,
All right.
Right. That's right. The divorce lawyer specifically said Christmas Day.
Yeah.
Oh, so
your wife got custody of you on Christmas Day?
Yeah. Right, exactly. So, into 2023, going into a new year, 2024.
Yeah.
What was your favorite part of 2023 for you so far?
Remembering to tell people to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell at the beginning of these videos.
Telling me subscribing to this podcast was your best moment of 2023?
Well, just to do it at the beginning is the best part.
Oh, okay.
Remember.
Well, your best moment could be subscribing to this podcast. It's not too late. That's
It's not too late.
It's not too late.
Start now. If you subscribe now, we won't charge you next year to do it.
Right. Get it now while it's still free. If you subscribe now, your investment will grow. It's an investment opportunity.
So whatever you pay to subscribe now, if you get 2 friends to subscribe, we'll pay you back double the amount.
Yep. Because 0 times 2 is still 0.
All right. So in reality, 2023.
Mm-hmm. Well, actually, everybody's super fucking happy this time of year. What was the worst part?
They're like depressed.
I don't know. Yeah, I think that's like the highest suicide rate this year. But anyways,
It's a bit. They're really happy. Really sad.
Yeah. Anyways, let's back up for a second. What was your least favorite part of 2023? What happened this year in your life that was like, this is the worst part about this year?
Interesting question. Honestly, it's been a pretty good year, so all I have are first world problems.
That's
All right.
fine, the Asians got first world problems. You made it.
Yeah. Probably the
This is when you started this podcast, huh?
extension of the project
Oh, yeah.
and not ending.
That's fair. That is a disappointment.
Yeah. So, because there's like, I like to keep to my word, and it's one of those, I signed up to do this project and complete the project.
Mhm.
Now, at the same time, they told me when the project was going to end.
Right, which was last year.
Yeah, which was last year. And now it's next year.
Yeah.
So it's, there's opportunities to do other things that I did not take so that I can, be true to my word.
Right, and finish. And now it's extending well past when it was supposed to be done.
Now it's getting ridiculous.
Yeah, that's fair.
So how about you? What's the downer of 2023 for you?
For me, I had a lot of personal things happen. So, we had Gabby's grandfather died, which sucked. And then I had some personal things going on with my sister this year. And so it was just a lot of running around mid-year to handle all of those, which obviously financially sucks just in general. And then the emotional toll on top of coming back to a never-ending project.
New movie coming out.
Yeah, because I definitely understand how you feel. There's definitely been things that have come up where it's like, oh, you could do this and you would be closer to home, or, you know, whatever, even though it's not maybe necessarily what you want, but you could be closer to home. And I was like, oh no, you know, I want to finish this project. Like, I did the last one with the same team, and I wanted to do this one because the last one also didn't go very well. But I wanted this one to be better. So I wanted to stick through it, and like, I want to show all the things that selfishly, I want to show that all the things I brought to the table have made a difference in the outcome of this project. And it just keeps dragging on.
It's like pulling teeth, right? It's just, and it's frustrating because it's like you're not allowed to tell them what to do, and
because the liability,
and they're not willing to accept suggestion.
Well, and the other part about just, I guess the other part about that is too, is like with the delays that we are having, it also just, it makes it extremely boring.
Yes.
There is very little going on. When something does happen, it is a massive fire drill. And then when something doesn't happen for weeks, and I'm extremely bored.
Yeah.
And that's the other part too, is that it just, I like improving, learning, doing new things, tackling new problems, and I'm just tackling the old problems very spread out, and it's quite boring.
I actually talked with my boss and told her that she's not getting her money's worth right now because it's so slow.
Yeah, yeah. It just, well, oh yeah, well, yeah. Yeah. I mean, you know. So
they're still paying me the same. I just have less to do. And so.
And don't get me wrong, I've definitely learned because we're, you know, Mike and I are in construction. We've learned that take the lows where we can get the lows, right? Because it does get extremely busy. It just, the project we're on in particular seems to really drag on.
Yeah. And when it's slow, it just takes longer for the days to go by.
Yeah.
And I feel not useless, but not useful.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just there to be there in case something happens.
Yep.
And I'm not providing value.
Yeah.
I'm not being useful, that type of thing.
Well, and what's hard for me is like, you know, and both of us do, but you're a little more permanent here. What's hard for me is that I travel for this. So it's like when I'm out here and I travel and I'm like, okay, bye. Like, you know, bye, honey, I really need to go because they really need me out here. And I get here and we sit on our hands for 3 weeks. Yeah. I'm like, so why did I come out here again?
Yeah, it's kind of a double, because a benefit is in your position, you can work remotely. I cannot.
Yeah. You know? That's true.
So you can be home or elsewhere, you know. Yeah, I'm going to work remotely from Jamaica, you know? And I can't do that. Not in my current role.
Yeah.
So that's a benefit to you. But then you flip it around, like you said earlier, it's one of those, I could be working remotely. Why am I here?
Yeah. Well, and the other part too is that I can work remotely, but then there are things that come up, like situations we had today, or not today, but a few weeks ago. I guess in this case,
today
this is coming out.
It's all the same.
Yeah. Where it's like, it's good for that somebody else is there, and I couldn't get that being remote.
Yeah.
It's also extremely difficult to be able to. So for those of you that don't know, a lot of my job deals with like quality control, and it's hard to find and make sure that things are quality when you're away. I can do a good portion of my job from home, but there are definitely things that it's just like much easier to be on site.
I am thankful that the team I work with is a very motivated team. It makes
I'm thankful the team you work with is a very motivated team too.
It makes my work life better.
Yeah.
Not necessarily easier, but better. And I can focus on improvement stuff instead of basic stuff.
For sure. So,
So that's the lowlights of 2023. Hey, way to get started. Let's start the podcast on a downer. If you're still with us, wake up.
Yeah, wake up.
What sucked about your lives in 2023?
Yeah, let us know. What sucked about your life?
Maybe your life will make us feel better about ours.
So what was your highlight of 2023?
Highlight of 2023? Let me see here. Well, there's a few. One, we started this podcast, and it's been fun. Yeah. I've enjoyed doing this podcast. So, I liked how it started. Just you overhearing my conversation with somebody else.
Yeah, me eavesdropping.
Yeah,
being nosy.
Perfect. It led to it, and it helped me get to know you better.
Yeah, because I mean, we knew each other, but not in the same way.
Right. And so I think doing this after work has actually made it easier to work together at work.
Mm-hmm.
You know, so this podcast has been a good thing. As I recall, it was this year that I went to the Virgin Islands for the very first time. So that was a nice trip. I like the islands. I like hot in the sun. So that was a good thing of 2023.
Yeah. I will say, I think if I don't say this first, I will probably get in trouble. So my wedding, I had my wedding this year, just a couple of months ago. So that was a lot of fun. It was definitely a highlight being able to say this is the last check I have to sign for this, and now I don't have to. That was a lot of fun. That was one of the biggest things that happened this year. The second big thing for me too was just starting this podcast. Something I really have liked about this is that this podcast, so anytime that I've tried to do any sort of content creation hobby before this podcast, I always did it by myself. And I had a really hard time staying motivated to continue moving forward, because it was one of those things where it was just like, I'll do it after work, blah, blah, whatever. And then tired from work, whatever the case, whatever the excuse was, right? And so I didn't continue, but having someone here to do it with, I had a commitment that I made to you to make sure that I helped do it and that, we continued doing it forward. Because even if you and I sat here and recorded everything, it had to get posted. And if I didn't do it, it wasn't going to get posted. And so it was like, I could make half a commitment to you and like pretend like, oh yeah. But when you go and look for the episode that week and it's not there, you're going to be wondering why.
So external motivator via accountability partner.
Yeah. And so that really helped. And it kind of helped me get through like I've learned a lot from just doing it in general. Through it, I actually found a new, like something I was always afraid to do, but I have started doing over the past week or so, and I really enjoy. So I had been posting a lot of stuff from our podcast account on X.
I was noticing.
Yeah. So I had been posting a lot, but it was posting a lot of stuff that had nothing to do with the podcast.
Right.
Which it's fine, right? The engagement there and all that stuff. And I'm going to continue doing that just as I see things and things that I like or things that I think we would like, I'll post them. But I noticed that the stuff that I was posting when it was related to some of the tech things or Tesla or whatever, I really enjoyed doing. So I actually created a separate account just for doing stuff like that. Just to plug it, it's called Explore Curiously.
Okay.
So, and I
never heard of it.
Yep. Most people haven't. I think it started like a week ago at this point. But yeah, so I noticed that I really like doing that. And before, I never wanted to do it because I was always in the mindset of like, oh, I see all these people already doing it, right? So I'm always like, what do I really bring that's different from all these people? And then I kind of realized that like, I don't have to bring anything necessarily, because what this podcast has really taught me, I think the most, like having to do it over, 2023, is that I like the views are cool, but it's really just fun. And so like the same thing with this content, like if I find something that's cool and fun and whatever, I can just post it. And it doesn't matter. It doesn't have to get viewed. And I can just enjoy doing that. So that's something that like I don't think not doing this podcast would have pushed me to do at some point. So and I've just learned a lot. So that was a really big highlight for me. And it's been a long time since I stuck this long to a hobby. A very long time. I always had trouble doing that. So this has been...
I'm not going to say I'm surprised, but I would say that when we first started out, there was this part of me that was like, yeah, we'll see how long this lasts.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, no, 100%. Because we could have got into it at 3 episodes in and been like, we don't like this. We're done, right? So, I was the same way, but I've enjoyed it the more we've gone on. And I enjoy learning about it. Even if I don't get to do all the things to edits or shorts and all that stuff that I like to do, even just making the one video and posting, like it's, I enjoy it and it's fun.
Yeah. I know, like at the beginning, I kind of felt bad for you because you were doing you had to do everything. And you still do, but you're just better at it now. So I feel less bad.
Much faster at it now.
Yeah, it's taking less of your time. So I felt bad because you would start after work and have to do the editing until just about bedtime, right? And so
yeah, it was taking me a very long time to get through it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I felt bad. I got over it. I didn't feel bad enough to do anything about it.
We've changed some things over the last 7 months or so that have made the editing easier too, as well. And yeah, I just got more efficient at it, relearned the software. That was kind of all that initial learning curve. Playing with audio and figuring out the most efficient way to handle the audio, stuff like that. And it's still not perfect, but it's much better than the first couple of episodes when I was just trying to play with it myself. And at the minimum, what I like is that at the minimum, we could do the recording and I can get that piece. And if I don't try to add a bunch of extra, that can be done in the time it took us to record. It can be done in 45 minutes. Which is what I like about it, because there's times when I can really dedicate time to it when I have the time, and it's like, oh, I really want to do all this stuff and add. And then when there's not, we can also just enjoy the recording and have fun with it and still post it. So, and I can always go back and either add or clip things later and things like that. So that's made it much easier.
So in 2023, I got to go back to the Carolinas and participate with my people, my indie wrestling guys, team, whatever you want to call it, the faction. So I enjoyed that, but it's kind of bittersweet because we got to accomplish a lot of things. And it's like when we first started out, I had these visions of where I can help these people go, and I knew I could only get them so far. And so in 2023, I felt like I got them as far as I could get them personally. And so that was when they got to that, it was very, I don't know, what the term, like it made me feel good, right? Accomplished. But at the same time, in 2023, King Enterprises was shut down. I shut it down. That was the name of our group, was the King Enterprises, because I took them as far as I can get them. And so me at that juncture was more of an anchor than a sail. And so closed it down. I got, my number one guy set up with his own team. And now I'm just like coaching him and advising him on how to run his own team. And so he's doing that. So that's been satisfying. But it's kind of bittersweet because now one thing is over and now all my children have left the house type of thing. So I'm curious, and this is going to lead into 2024. I'm curious as to what 2024 is going to bring in that regard. I thought about just like leaving wrestling altogether on the East Coast. I've thought about wrestling out here in Washington State, but it's 3 hours to get to wherever the wrestling is, no matter what direction.
Right.
I'm not sure if that's what I want to do, and it's a lot harder to get into the groups, the clique. It's very cliquish out here.
Yeah.
The Carolinas
already in it over there.
Yeah, the Carolinas is very welcoming from the get-go. Out here, it's very standoffish. I don't trust you. Who are you? What do you want? That type of thing. So, that's maybe I'll do another foray into that out here in 2024. I'm not sure yet. But I think I'm going to continue to find a way of helping out on the East Coast for 2024.
So I have I don't know if a philosophical question is a right word for you, but just a more personal question for you on New Year's resolutions. How do you feel about New Year's resolutions? Because I have my own opinion, so I'm curious.
As a general rule, I don't like them. I made a New Year's resolution to no longer make New Year resolutions.
Yeah. So I'm with you, right? My opinion is that if you want to do something, you don't need to wait until the new year to do it. You just need to do it.
But there's something about it, right? Because it's brand new.
Yeah.
And it's like baptism.
Yeah. I think you should always be setting new and increasing goals for yourself, right? I think that the hype around the New Year resolution is that it's always kind of the same way. Like everybody makes a joke of like, from New Year's to about February 15th, everybody's in the gym. It's super crowded. And then it just kind of all drops off, right?
I have my thoughts on that. It's like, I think gyms should have a prepaid annual membership that is transferable. So you can pay $1,500 all at once instead of, $2,000 on a monthly basis and have your whole year of your gym paid for. Yay, right? Christmas presents, blah, blah, blah. Then by March, when you're not going to the gym anymore, you can sell that to somebody else. And then they're going to get a discounted rate when they're actually going to use it.
Right. Yeah. So just make them transferable. So like, I'm going to sell you this gym membership at 75% of what I paid for it, but it's still worth the time. So you can just transfer it over. Yeah. But yeah, so I
don't have resolutions for 2024. I do have
just
some goals.
Yeah. So what are some of your goals for 2024?
Right now, there is a wrestling promotion in Boiling Springs, South Carolina. It's now called Asylum Pro Wrestling. It was American Pro Wrestling. The guy that brought me into wrestling is now the owner of it.
Okay.
So my goal is to help him get that reestablished, get a new identity, redo the interior of the building where they're working, and restructure his promotion so it looks more like a real wrestling show. And then be able to release wrestling shows on YouTube and maybe even get into some sort of a TV type of situation.
Okay.
Because there's you can get wrestling on Roku channels and that kind of stuff. But I'm thinking more along the lines of public access TV.
Okay.
Or something along those lines.
That's really cool. So basically starting your own arena, essentially.
Yeah.
Or helping
him get his situated.
Yeah.
I at the very beginning with him, starting there, I was like, I saw all the potential because the previous owners quit investing in it.
Gotcha.
Right? They had a sweetheart deal on the lease of the building, and they just were cheap on the seatings. They were cheap on the lighting. They didn't invest in cleanup.
Right.
And my friend, he's cleaning it up, and he's getting new seating, and he's motivated to make these changes. I was like, they're the only weekly running show out there.
Right.
Everybody else runs maybe once a month on average.
Okay.
He runs every single week. It's like there's so much potential there if someone who gave a damn would just own it.
Yeah.
And so now if someone gives a damn, owns it, he doesn't have the finances to do everything.
Right.
And so that's where I kind of come in and partner up with them.
Okay. That's really cool. I think that one of my things, and I'm sure this is for a lot of people. A lot of people kind of have this general goal in mind, but I definitely want to make some more progression in my career this year. I have some things that we've talked about off the side. I'm looking at, some potential like new career opportunities that there's a solid chance that I think that I can get into. And I'm really excited about that. My wife and I for those of you that don't know, live in San Antonio right now. Most of her family is from Arizona. We're planning to move back there. So that's a big thing coming up in 2024, regardless of the career opportunity. So I'm getting excited for that change. San Antonio was kind of one of those things where it came down for a project and we just got tired of moving, or I got tired of moving. So I was like, let's stay here for another year at the minimum, or 2 or whatever. But the problem with that is we stayed there knowing that we were going to move. And so I've never felt like I could really fully settle in. So I'm excited to, even if we move and we're just renting somewhere, to settle into the area. And I've lived in the area before for a year, so I know it already. So it'll be nice to just go back knowing, hey, this is for the foreseeable future. This is what I'm calling home. I'm going to settle down in this area. So I'm really excited for that.
I have the same thing, but mine's already more solidified. So I'm picking up another project in this area, just down the road, a couple dozen miles. But
that's all you got here. It's down the road a few dozen miles.
Yeah. So I'm looking forward to that and the opportunities that presents, possibility of leading another team, or even having some direct reports and being more of a coach and a mentor.
Yeah.
So that's already in the works and promised. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to this project ending. I have some financial bonuses tied to this project, the next project that, I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, and there's some financial bonuses related to the opportunities that I'm pursuing too. So that will be nice. I'm kind of at a place, and my wife and I are talking about it. I feel like I kind of want to have I guess when we move, like now that I'm finally moving, because it's been like, so just some background. I know that you and I have talked about it, but since I left home to go to school, it's been move to school, then move in areas around school, then move to Arizona for work. Then I moved to Colorado. Then a year later, I moved to San Antonio, and now I'm moving back to Arizona. So it's been, since I was 18, it's been this like wish-wash of where am I going to go, live, call home, all those things.
That's been my entire life.
Yeah, and it's a lot of people's entire lives. And I'm going to be honest, just for doing it for the 8 years that I've been doing it, I'm glad if people love doing it.
Yeah, no, sir, I don't like it.
But it is not a very stable way to have to live. And so I'm really looking forward to that part, but I kind of just want to do a whole like reset. My wife and I were talking about it, it's just like, there's a bunch of stuff that I want to get rid of that we've either kept or like we bought because we thought we liked it. But then like after buying all our furniture, we're like, I don't know if I really like the way all this stuff like goes together or whatever. Like just things like that. I'm just like, kind of want to just like clean it out and just really start fresh.
It's a unique person. I mean, because from the day I was born till now, the longest I ever lived in one location or one town, because they're not even in one location, is 6 years. And even in that 6-year period, we might have moved from one house to another house type of thing. But at 6 years in one location is the longest stint I've had in my life.
Yeah. And I think obviously I'm not very old, but we moved around quite a bit when I was younger too. And so I don't necessarily need to be in the same house forever. And I'm not limiting myself to like I have to stay here. If opportunities arise, that will obviously be up discussion, but it would be nice to start trying to put down some roots. Gabby and I were talking about I want to buy some land in preparation to build a home, and things like that. And it's difficult to do that if you're moving around all the time. You can buy land and build homes, but it's difficult to plan to live in that home if you're moving around all the time. And her and I want kids at some point, over the next few years. So just things like that. I'd like to place some roots somewhere.
Yeah, that's something I don't have to worry about. So,
but yeah, so I'm really looking forward to that because next year really kind of starts that whole process.
Do you have any tangible, measurable personal goals for 2024?
I have some personal financial goals, like certain amounts in investment and liquid cash that I want to be at. I have some of those things.
Have I told you I invest in crypto?
So I have some of those things. We also there's a high probability that we're planning on renting out our house, the house that we currently
So you're going to become a slumlord.
Yeah. So I am really looking forward to that learning process because I've always wanted to, I guess dabble is the right word in it. I've always wanted to at least try it, at least for a year.
Are you going to have a property manager, a friend, or just kind of
think we're going to do a property manager, but I haven't fully settled on that yet. And I haven't even fully settled on the whole renting thing. As everything is in flux constantly with like housing and market right now, it kind of is just like what's going to make the most sense at the time.
Yeah.
Whenever that time is. So I'm still trying to figure that out. And then I do have another content channel that I want to start, that I've actually been planning is not the right word, but like slowly kind of setting up for the past year or so that I really want to do. And but I need to be in really one place more consistently to do it. Because the type of content just really requires some sort of setup, and it requires somewhere where I can have the items that I'm dealing with in one place. So I don't want to give away too much because I've done a lot of research, and although not a lot of people watch this podcast, I haven't seen anyone do what I'm planning on doing.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't want the idea to get stolen.
Yeah.
Because I've been sitting on it for a year, worried that like somebody's gonna start doing it, but so far nobody has. So I'm excited about that, and obviously doing the podcast has really helped because it'll be an easy transition to just start doing something like that.
Yeah. So I'm hoping like in 2024 that you learn how to do the remote stuff.
Yeah.
And all the editing, and then I can make you my producer for an independent channel.
Yeah.
So.
I'm down. But yeah, so that's my tangible goals are really getting the new content started, moving. I've got some financial tangible goals that I want to achieve during that year. And just get a little more, it would make me feel a little more stable and situated. Things have been kind of crazy, and like with the wedding and all that stuff, I personally don't feel the stability right now that I would want. So,
right. With my new project in 2024, that can go 2 to 10 years because there's a whole series of work right in that same campus. Right. So I can have that stability here if I choose to go that route. So I've actually started looking into at buildings and that kind of stuff because I like the wrestling thing. It's like why can't I do a wrestling show in Wenatchee myself?
Right.
And so, because it's really expensive to own a building.
Yeah.
That's why I can't do it. Which is why we're calling on you to be investors.
The only thing you have to invest is subscribe. You don't even actually have to give us money. Yeah.
So, I do have some like physical goals, and I'm actually prepping for it now. That's why I have doctor's appointments to look at knees and shoulders and that kind of stuff. Because I do want to get the body back into shape. I just know I have certain limitations right now, and I need to get those dealt with so it can withstand the rigors of an exercise regimen.
Yeah. So,
but I'm not going to get a gym membership.
Yeah, I think one of my things that and this is something that I've been tossing around, and this is where I would like to be a little more stable in an area too, is not necessarily a full home gym, but an area to exercise, if you will, that I can put some equipment in. And that's kind of also one of the other things that I want to do in 2024 with the move and things like that.
Have you heard of Tonal?
No.
TONAL. Look into that. It looks intriguing, and it's new fangled stuff.
Okay.
All right. It's new. Like Peloton is more than just an exercise bike, right?
Okay.
So it's the same, to me, it's that same genre of stuff, except it's more muscles and not just a bicycle, and it mounts to a wall.
Smart exercise equipment, if you will. Yeah.
And so,
I think I don't know if it's that specific thing, but I think I've seen something.
Yeah, I think there's like maybe 3 companies that make
that do it. Yeah.
But I can see, the Tesla mindset, mid-20s. You have a different outlook and preferences.
Yeah.
And so I could see that would fit into that stereotype.
Yeah, anything that pairs with an app, I'll usually use.
Exactly.
But no, yeah, and that may be something good too. I want to get away from the gym. Honestly, the gym for me, I don't like people.
So, yeah. I don't like the gym. Had bad experience with like one of those TikTok type of girls that's just out there to try to set you up to ridicule you.
Right.
And then another bad experience when I came out of the Army and I had surgery on my wrist and had to go to rehab. I was very limited on what I can do, but it was like 5 pounds with the wrist thing, and some dude is like looking at me. He's like, what a puss cake. He's curling, a 50-pound barbell, and I get this 5-pounder thing going on. And it's like,
there's a lot of judgment at the gym.
I just don't need that in my life.
Yeah. Yeah. Unfortunately, there's a lot of judgment there. And I don't care for the amount of people. I find myself a lot of times I'm like, have a planned routine, and then I'm constantly circumventing people to do things kind of inside my routine because the machines or weights or whatever I need to do are taken.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I spend an extra 20 minutes here just circling around. I'm like, we already discussed this earlier. I don't have the extra 20 minutes that I want to spend here, and I don't care to spend the extra 20 minutes there either. So yeah, I think that I'm going to move away from the gym thing and try to do something set more up at home.
What I want to do next year is boxing.
That sounds like fun.
I don't want to box competitively.
Yeah.
But I like the sport of boxing. And I just think that the training would be much more fun than 15 minutes on a treadmill or, 20 minutes on a bicycle or any of that mess.
Yeah.
So just for me, my workout needs to be competitive and fun.
Yeah. That's fair.
What else do you want to do for 2024? Give me one SMART goal for 2024.
One SMART goal?
Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant,
I feel like
time bound.
Oh, I feel like I'm at work.
So time bound by December 31st, 2024.
Yeah. So I would say by December 21st, 2024, I think that I want to have my ever since we've talked about it, my goal has been to get my full, 3 to 4 months of expenses in as liquid cash.
Okay.
Since we had the episode where we were talking about
Right.
it. So I think that I want to have my 3 or 4 months of expenses as liquid cash by the end of 2024. So we'll call it 4 months expenses. I'm not going to give a number because I don't know what.
Don't need numbers. Don't need numbers.
I don't want people to know what I spend a month. Mainly just because it's probably embarrassing for me. So yeah, that's my goal. I want to have, I think, about 4 months of expenses.
I think that's an excellent goal.
Yeah, by the end of 2024, and I think that where I'm at, potential opportunities coming up, money that we're saving and putting away now, I think it's very reasonable to do and achieve probably before the end of 2024. So that's my goal.
Excellent.
What about you? What's your SMART goal?
My SMART goal is by the end of 2024, I plan to know whether I'm going to stay here for 10 years or to finish this one project and go somewhere else.
Is probably a good goal to have. That's probably something you want to know.
Yeah.
All right. Well, you guys tell us.
And what are your goals?
Yeah. What are your goals for 2024, 2025, just the future in general?
Do you have a podcast goal? Double our viewers, double our subscribers?
Yeah, I would like to see double the subscribers. I'd actually just like us to hit 100.
100?
Yeah, so
I like that.
We're at 60 now. I think it would be cool to hit 100 subscribers.
100 subscribers by December 31st, 2024.
I think that we can easily make that goal. But yeah, I think I think my goal would be to have 100 subscribers by the end of 2024 and to average 100 or so views on on every podcast. We're in and out of that views, so I think that that's reasonable.
So then after this, not like immediately after this, but after this, we'll get together and we'll create a plan that we can exercise that will best help us reach that goal.
Yep.
All right.
Sounds good.
All right.
So tell us your goals. Write in the comments. Tell us your worst thing about 2023, your favorite thing,
and what you're going to accomplish in 2024.
Yep. And give your SMART goal.
Your SMART.
Label it as SMART goal.
Specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. That's what SMART stands for.
Yep. And if you don't have a job in a corporate world, you'll relearn what that is. Eventually.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you guys for watching.
All right. Peace be the journey.